In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure Rapid per VLAN spanning tree protocol. So RPVST, as it's called, plus is a newer spanning tree protocol, and it's based on a rapid spanning tree protocol where there are multiple VLANs. So in this example, and it's typical of any network infrastructure, you'll have multiple VLANs. So this spanning tree protocol was developed for network infrastructure where you have multiple VLANs. So it creates a spanning tree instance for each VLAN. So what I'm going to do in this example is the VLANs are already created on the hosts. So what I'm going to do is I have to configure the uplinks between the switches as trunks to trunk both VLANs between each switch. So I'm going to configure a trunk mode on all those interconnects between the switches. Then I'm going to enable Rapid per VLAN spanning tree protocol on each switch. And then at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine what the root bridge is, what was elected, and I can show you how to do that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with switch 1, and I'm going to go over to start creating trunks. I'm going to sign on and configure terminal. So I'm on switch 1. So I'm going to start with interface 0.1, and then I'll go to 1.1. So there it is there, interface 0.1. I'm going to make it a trunk. And I'm going to tell it to allow VLAN 10 and 11. I'm going to go switch port no negotiate as well to turn off DTP. And everything else is defaults. So at that point, that's the first trunk done, first interface for the trunk. So the next one I have to do is I'm going to up arrow and go and change this to 1.1. And I'm going to configure 1.1 for a trunk as well. So I'm just going to make that a trunk. No negotiate, and I'm going to allow VLAN 10 and 11. And so that's all there is to it as far as that configuration goes on switch 1. Actually, at this point, I could wait until they're all done, but this time what I'll do is I'll just configure RPVST. So the command for that is spanning tree mode, just go over the string, Rapid PVST plus, Rapid PVST plus, actually it's just PVST. So that enables Rapid per VLAN spanning tree. And so at that point, I'm just going to go up to the top. I'll go to switch 2 and create trunks there as well. So let's just go, and I'll go here, configure terminal, and I'll start with 0.1, interface FA 0.1. These are the interconnects, and so it's just a basic trunk. Allow the same VLANs. So each VLAN will have its own instance of a spanning tree. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10 and 11. Okay. And so the next thing I'm going to do is go to the top and I should go configure T. And I'll go spanning tree in the mode or protocol, Rapid PVST. and that's done. And I'll just maybe we'll copy this to the startup configuration to make sure it's updated. I'll go back to 1 and do the same thing instead of forgetting. Okay, done. Go to switch 3, and I've got the same interfaces I'm using on each 0, 1, and 1, 1. So CCNA and configure terminal. Just go fast forward. That's typo. Configure terminal, and the same thing again. Interface FA 01. So I'm going to make it a trunk again. And no negotiate. And allow the VLANs. Okay, so very basic configuration. I'll go up one level, because this is a global. When you're doing spanning tree, it's a global configuration, or the actual protocol itself is global. You don't do it on the interface; it affects all interfaces. So that's why I go up one level. Okay. And copy run to start. I'll go back to switch 2, and everything looks fine there. And switch 1. So all the configurations have been saved. So at this point, what I'm going to do now is run some commands. So we'll go to switch 3. I want to know, so now spanning tree election has occurred because I've enabled rapid per VLAN spanning tree. So it's gone through an election now to select a root bridge. And the root bridge, you can tell because it has all designated ports. It's a root bridge for the infrastructure. So I'm going to go show spanning tree summary. So in this example here, switches in rapid RPVST mode, so that's good. And it's telling me this is the root bridge for VLAN 10 and 11. I didn't give names to the VLANs, I just left them as numbers, so that's 10, 11. So switch 3 has been elected as the root bridge for VLAN 10 and 11. Port fast is not enabled. It goes through and tells you some other things, what's enabled and what is not. And this example, there's 10, 11, it's telling you how many ports are blocking and listening. These are all the states that are available. So what I'll do now, I'll try something else. I'll go show spanning tree VLAN 10. So here it tells me that so the root ID priority is 32778. So that's this bridge is the root, has a higher priority. And notice all they're all designated, so that you can always tell if it's a root bridge. All ports are designated. There's no root ports, it's all designated ports as well. So if I go to switch 1, I'll run the same command. Show spanning tree summary. And go up here. It gives me the same information, same commands. So it tells me what spanning tree protocol is used, the root bridge. So this is not the root bridge; it just says default. So there's another root bridge. It's this switch 1 and switch 2 are not root bridges either. There's only one. That tells me that's just not the root bridge for any VLAN. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So that concludes the lecture on rapid per VLAN spanning tree.